As a former undisputed super middleweight boxing world champion, it's a situation Marshall has been in on multiple occasions, wrapping her hands backstage as anticipation for a mouth-watering main event grows in the audience. But PFL Europe's event in the Northeast in June carried a significant change to every previous bout Marshall has been involved in. It was an MMA fight. It was a momentous occasion for the 33-year-old Hartlepool native to make her MMA debut in front of her home fans. But the PFL's decision to make Marshall the headline act did not come without pre-fight questions. How would Marshall fare? Would the fight do the prestigious main event slot justice? And is it the right move to put a boxer, who had only been training MMA for 9 months, at the top of the card at the expense of athletes who have dedicated much of their lives to the craft? Following an incredible back-and-forth contest which saw a vociferous crowd on their feet and a relieved Marshall get her hand raised after stopping Mirela Vargas, the reaction from an astounded fellow journalist at cageside answered most of those questions. "That was one of the best MMA rounds I've ever seen," he exclaimed. Later, after chattering, excitable fans had left the arena, and as clangs from workers deconstructing the blood and sweat-stained canvas echoed through the air, PFL Europe chief Dan Hardy explained why Marshall's presence benefits the other fighters on the card. "Savannah brought a lot of attention to this card that potentially a lot of these fighters wouldn't have got otherwise," Hardy told BBC Sport. The co-main event, Kane Moussa and Dylan Tuke, they were both really excited and thankful to be sharing a card with Savannah. They both took photos with her at the face-offs. They're big fans. "Ultimately, we're martial artists. If you're a boxer, a wrestler, a fighter, you're a combat sports athlete." Marshall followed long-term boxing rival Claressa Shields when she signed a contract with the PFL, joining fellow boxer Amanda Serrano, as well as YouTuber-turned-fighter Jake Paul. The signings are the PFL's attempts to draw eyes to its organization through successful rivalries and stars in boxing. Marshall and Shields became the first female boxers to headline at a major venue in the UK in 2022, in about billed as the biggest in women's history, with Serrano becoming the first woman alongside Katie Taylor to top a card at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden a few months prior. Paul, meanwhile, lacks the boxing accomplishments of his PFL counterparts but is a big draw, emphasized by his postponed bout with Mike Tyson, which was set to be streamed by Netflix and take place at the 80,000-capacity AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Shields has 2 wins and 1 loss in the promotion, but Serrano and Paul are yet to make their PFL debuts, with some critics pointing to the signings as being a gimmick. There is a feeling that the PFL's signing of such stars hurts its claim to be a world-leading MMA promotion alongside the UFC, because mixed martial artists aren't the ones the organization are using to draw new eyes to it. Boxers are. There is also little evidence boxers have the skill set to seriously challenge for titles in MMA and vice versa. Francis Ngannou, who will make his PFL debut on October 19th, boxed admirably against former world champion Tyson Fury, but lost a split decision before being knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Conor McGregor was stopped after 10 rounds of his boxing matchup with Floyd Mayweather in 2017, while Paul, who made his boxing debut in 2020 with little background in the sport, has since defeated 5 MMA fighters. Marshall, as admirable as her performance was against Vargas, has said she has little ambition to challenge for titles in the sport, with her main goal being to set up a rematch with Shields. And it is Marshall's roadmap which perhaps symbolizes the PFL's MMA boxing crossover blueprint best. It can be wildly entertaining and profitable in the short term, but questions remain over its longevity.